Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now, you might be thinking at first glance that, with this being the final week of the festivities for the ZOIDS collab, that things might be relatively quiet this week, and well, you're not entirely wrong, but at the same time, there is still a lot worth celebrating and participating over, despite the fact that we're only getting one new model this week to finalize everything. Now, with this model, it is introducing a brand new skill, much like Blade Liger did in week 1, and with that, though, we still have a number of rather interesting festivities and events to be found as we round out this final week of the collaboration. That being said, though, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced for this week, starting, of course, with the Gacha banners. And as mentioned, this week we only have one big one, and that is the final model that has yet to be revealed. That is ZOIDS, D-Saurer, with a kit of Cursed Shot, Hyper Missile, Laser, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Pupa. Now, Cursed Shot is a brand new skill being introduced into the game, much like Blade Liger introduced officially Revenge Sword. But to explain Cursed Shot briefly, it had a rather unique description behind it. But to explain it simply, it works kind of similarly to Torment in Pokemon, but with a little bit of a spin on it. Basically, upon breaking a part when attacking a target, it actually prevents them from being able to restore that part for a certain amount of time, up to I think 2 turns or so. But at the same time, it also is a skill that cannot be spammed more than once. So unlike any other skill that we've had in the game thus far, minus of course sacrifice skills that kind of require you to stagger it, Cursed Shot is a skill that actually has a second cooldown, aside from the one that is just its regular cooldown stat, and you have to wait for both to finish before you can use it again. In addition to D-Saurer, though, we do also have Blade Liger, Command Wolf, and G-Saurer that will also be sticking around through the tail end of the collab. So if D-Saurer is a model that isn't quite up your alley or one that seems rather interesting to you, you can always skip out on him and go towards any of the previous 3. Now, it is also worth mentioning, though, that with this being the final week or so of the collaboration, that Shield Liger, the free unit, will be the big one you want to make sure you push toward. So as long as the event remains open, if you are a new player or have not yet collected all of his parts, I do highly recommend that you get to that sooner than later. So even if you miss any of these 4 models here, you still have someone that you can bring home and say that was your reward/trophy for participating in the ZOIDS collab, because this is actually the first event in a while where we've actually gotten an event reward model for free, from a collaboration no less, where most of the models in the past were primarily gacha-based exclusively. Now, with the introduction of D-Saurer, our reruns are going to be a little lower key, but still very solid all around. Starting that lineup, we have DRA-03 Shanglong, with the kits of Fire, Double Charge Blade, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Shape Memory. Now, Shanglong, a veteran from Medarot 9, is also capable of transforming into a long, slender Chinese dragon kind of form, and in this form he exchanges his kit for Fire, Deathlock, Repair, Light Legs, and the leg ability of Blowbeat. So very solid mixed ailment attacker there, and once he does have a charge going, he can certainly make himself an absolute menace as long as he can keep that charge for Charge Blade on either arm. Alongside Shanglong, we do also have Pt.3 Noir Katsi, a veteran from the days of Medarot DS, with a kit of Slip, Press, Break, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of G-Loader. And in addition to her, we also have another Medarot DS veteran, KLN02, Desai Moran, with the kit of Melee Trap, Power Rifle, Gatling, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Clairvoyance. Now, between these 2 models, well, 3 honestly if you include Shanglong, there are a lot of very solid skills to be had and to be collected on. Noir Katsi in particular, if you need heavy punish or stalling people with slip, Desai Moran is probably going to be the most readily usable out of the box, given that Power Rifle and Gatling are very conventional skills that don't require any kind of prior setup to use effectively. Albeit Clairvoyance, which is radar sight on Metaforce charge, is very nice to have. It's not necessarily a requirement to make use of Meisai Moran from turn 1. All this aside though, because we are still in the middle of a collaboration, I would highly encourage that you still try to push towards the collab units first, and then once you have everybody from there that you want, then you could go back and collect any one of these 3 that do kind of pique your interest. And I'm not going to say which one is honestly better than any other, because they all have something that they can bring to the table in one form or another. With the fierce battles we have going on this week, it is again a group of bots that we have not seen for a rather hot minute, but still very enjoyable to have all the same. Starting that lineup is DGD-0GO Death with a kit of Optic Guard, Double Sacrifice, Melee variant, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Mirage. Behind him we have OWL-03 Minarova, the Owl type from Girls Mission, with a kit of Laser, Freeze Shot, Press, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Torturer. And last but not least, another veteran from Medarot Girls Mission, GTD-01 Daichenko, who we most certainly have not seen for a hot minute of these 3 here, with a kit of Melee Guard, Missile, Gatling, Tank Legs, and the leg ability of Heavy Arms. Now, of the 3 models here, much like it was with the reruns, there is honestly something from every bot to be had. Geo Death in particular, if you want Sacrifice Arms early on, even if they won't necessarily hit nearly as hard as, say, Belzelga or Blossom Mail or somebody of the like that is an official gacha type model. Minarova in particular for free shot is always a very welcome asset, especially to new players that are starting out, because this will make it very handy to hold on to for any modifiers that are, say, no melee parts allowed, or you need to find a way to include a long-range combat form of stalling enemies into your build. And Daichenko may or may not be the most useful of them all. Melee Guard is handy to have, but it's honestly going to be his legs with heavy arms that are probably going to redeem him from any kind of viability, because with extra heavy parts installed, his leg stats do go up to kind of comp some of the lower end numbers like his mobility. This being said though, as an MVP of the week, I would honestly have to give that role to Minarova, given that not only as a female model with a very diverse kit, but free shot alone already makes her a wonderful addition to any team that she's on, whether that be as mixed parts or especially as mixed parts, but even more so as a pure set, for just the diverse array of skills that she can bring to the table to fill in a lot of holes on female teams where that modifier is required. Now, of course, as it has been with previous weeks, there is also a paid skin being released for D-Saurer as well. This one, as you see here, is kind of an offshoot and inspiration from the Bloody D-Saurer, I believe the full term was, based from a friend of mine who's very much so into the ZOIDS series and fandom, and been absolutely loving all these models as they're being released. Compared to most other models that have a very obvious change in their designs, compared to most other skins, D-Saurer is probably going to be the most tame, and likely it's just going to be a palette swap more than anything, but I really can't see that from just a screenshot, so I'm not going to necessarily hold myself to that standard. But, of course, like any other previous limited collab skins released in the previous weeks, this one will go for sale at about 30 USD or so once it does drop this coming Thursday, so if you do find yourself interested in D-Saurer and collect him, do make sure you don't miss out on this either so you can make use of it. Since, just as a friendly reminder, alt skins and color chips will stack on each other. So if you don't like a Bloody D-Saurer, well, color it green, or color it blue, or yellow, or whatever you're looking for in particular to make use of on your team. In addition to this, we are also getting a third wave of special event missions, much like we have with weeks 1 and 2. In these events, we do have the opportunity to earn extra ruby shards, as well as specialized gacha tickets for extra models, as well as a chance to earn some limited time art pieces that will be sent via mail for those who are lucky to collect them. These missions are honestly super easy. Literally just participate in the event and any super invasions and you're done. There's really nothing more you need to do to maximize on these rewards. And if you do find that you don't want to spend any rubies right away, this is a very good way to stockpile on some ruby shards to guarantee that even if you do have that gacha itch, these will kind of sit in the back of your head and not really bother you until you think about them, and just kind of pick up stockpile over time. In addition, we are also getting a second super invasion, naturally as you'd expect, with D-Saurer and G-Saurer now together, with this second one as you see here to my immediate right. Just as a friendly reminder, if you have not accomplished this one or the first one, do make sure you finish them before the collaboration ends for the free 20 rubies between them, as well as the 2 limited profile plates that you can use on your banners to showcase as kind of a trophy that you participated in these events. Modifiers are honestly going to be really easy, likely nothing more than just overclocked medals, which means go in with your best team, lay waste to them, in and out, you're done in about 10 minutes tops. So make sure that you are highly well raised for that. Go in, knock them out, claim your rewards, and so you at least have something you can bring home if you don't have any luck with the gacha models, or if you miss out on Shield Liger before it's too late. With the third wave of the event itself, on the other hand, we do have a pretty nice increase in rewards that we can earn yet again. In Wave 3 of the event, we have the opportunity to earn even more profile banners, as you see here, between Genosaurer and D-Saurer, as you see. We can also earn the limited edition Giant Medal. No, it's not a giant oversized medal, it's just a medal of a oversized foot, as you see. With a kit with a mastery in shooting, healing, and defense, with a leg mastery in biped, multi, and tank. And in addition, we can also earn more gacha tickets from the limited collab event, alongside many other resources and more. In addition to the big rewards that you want to shoot for first, if you do find yourself lacking on resources such as NFRP chips or medallion, events like this are usually a really good way that you can farm those resources quickly. You can basically get them for free while still earning everything else in the event you have not collected yet. Now, as for how the event will play out, it is milestone based. So much like it was with this last week, your sets are encouraged the most if you want to maximize those bonuses. This time around, though, it's going to be playing relatively differently. As you see here, the highest bonus you can get is 15% per part with Shield Liger, which is the free one no less. 9% to the rerun banners of Shanglong, Meisai Maran, or Noir Katsi. 8% bonus towards the PvP skins that are ongoing this month, such as Spinag, Goth Bullet, and Evil Rex. And of course, a 6% bonus towards the Fierce Battles, respectively. For the Medarot bonuses, 20% for SR Azuma, which is very easy to collect since it's a permanent one. 10% for SR Hisaki, as you see here. And of course, 5% or 3% towards the R or N ranks, respectively, of those same Medarots. Now, you're probably wondering with this, though, why is it that only these models are getting highlighted? And that's because the event will also include a boss fight mechanic. I was wrong with how it was announced last week with how it was supposed to be engaged, but this week, for a fact, should officially include it, which is why there's so many different bonuses to collect, and why I do encourage, if you are going to capitalize on them, make sure that you do bring more than one group. Make sure you build at least more than one team so you can switch between them based on if you're doing levels or if you're doing boss fight. But for the limited boss fight, as you see here, I believe the silver one to my top here is going to be included with the previous batch with the dungeon, but it is about 6% for D-Saurer himself and a 5% towards Blade Liger, Command Wolf, or Genosaurer, respectively. For the boss fight, on the other hand, those same models actually have a little bit of a better bonus. As you see here, D-Saurer will give you a 15% bonus per part and a 9% bonus per part toward the other three, respectively. For the Medarots, essentially it is kind of obvious as well. Collab skins for Azuma and Kohaku at 20% each, SR Odyssey here at 15%, and of course 10% or 5% towards N rank or R rank, respectively, of Odyssey or Kohaku specifically. So, even though boss fights have been a relatively weird mechanic in terms of how events played in the past, I do feel that if you've collected at least one model from the collaboration outside of Blade Liger, who was given for free, you really shouldn't have too much of a problem working through this event and collecting all the rewards. One other thing to mention with boss fight mechanics as well is that you can stockpile encounters. So if you decide that you want to knock out all the regular dungeon rewards first, then go after the boss fights, you are more than welcome to do that. You don't need to tackle the boss fights at any time that you get one. You can always save your encounters and just knock out a whole bunch of them at once. Lastly, some other stuff to do with the community. There is still the currently ongoing Ori Meta contest on Twitter by Imagineer officially that is ongoing until November 7th. So we are getting ready to kind of run out of time here, about 2.5, 3 weeks or so left before this event ends. So make sure that if you are going to officially submit an entry for it, that you do so sooner than later. Make sure you use the hashtags as mentioned below here, OriMetaS or Medarot in particular. A couple major rules that they did want to highlight as well that were mentioned to me. Submissions must have a resolution of about 2000 by 2000 pixels, I believe, but they must also include part names. So do make sure you include those if you are going to submit any entries for their contest. As winners of theirs, the top 3 will be made into official Medarots to join the game and part of the roster permanently. In addition to the official contest by Imagineer, we in the PRB Discord community are also hosting our own contest, which is ongoing from the start of October to November 21st. So our contest will go on for about 2 weeks longer than the official contest, and I will be announcing the winners officially on Medarot Day on 11/28. Now, it is also worth noting that with this contest, we have not had a lot of entries in recent, given that we're only halfway through October already, and that's perfectly fine. I understand things like Inktober are going on for a lot of artists in our community and such, but just as a friendly reminder, our contest is still ongoing. Rules, as you see, are listed here, but also officially in our Discord channel as well, if you need to look at those in more detail. One other thing to mention as well on the topic of our Discord community, and that's the fact that we have officially opened it up to community mode, which means that there will be a lot easier ways to find the community and not just have direct invites, say, from my channel or any friends of yours that are mutuals. This means anybody will be able to find it. We'll now have access to permanent invite links. It is still kind of an early preliminary thing, though, so we are trying it on a test run to see just how well it performs before we officially stick to it officially. But we are still working on stuff on the back end of that, and are more than happy to have anyone in our fine little community, whether that means here on the West Coast, is here on the Western community, or our friends on the East community as well that would like to stop in and have some fun with our Western friends. Also, on the community front, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any translation attempts or endeavors. Right now, Medarot 3 is currently nearing completion at almost 100%. There's still a handful of text that still needs translated and then injected back into the game, but in addition to this, they are still working on Medarot 4, and we would love to start working on Medarot 5 and Navi, or even the later 3DS titles, or even Medarot DS as well, but we need hands and manpower to do it. So if you are knowledgeable in coding, or cleaning, or Japanese, and have some time on your hands, we are more than appreciative of any efforts that you'd be willing to provide for those endeavors. Alternatively, if you are unable to fulfill any of these roles, or not feel yourself a total noob in the realm of expertise, that's perfectly fine too. Provided in the links below will be a link to Variant's crowdfunding that you can donate to, so that he can commission work to help translate those last bits of text, so they can start working on other titles more earnestly, so we can finally put Medarot 3 to rest. But again, if you are knowledgeable in that or would love to help, feel free to reach out to me or join our Discord in the link provided below, and we can definitely get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point. Now, with the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I chose, and I'm probably going to be doing this for a while, where I actually choose to highlight some of the currently submitted Ori metas that were pumped towards the official contest by Imagineer. And boy oh boy, are we getting a pretty good handful of unique designs this year. This one here by my friend SOHITN on Twitter. A rather interesting design. It's very obvious that it is a Wizard of Oz theme, as you see here, OZD0. Very creative design as well. I do love seeing a lot of SOHIT's work, but it seems like with his in particular, he turned his into like a combiner of sorts, with the Tin Man being the right arm, the Scarecrow being the left, Dorothy being the main body, and of course the lion being the extra armor. But it's a very creative take on it, in my personal opinion, and I really do like how it ended up. And then this piece here by Twitter user Odono, who decided to make a udon noodle based design, and a very cute one at that as well at that. You don't see a lot of models particularly like this in recent, and I believe this one was a redesign from this artist, if I read it correctly. But I really like the use of making it like a multi-legged model with the udon noodles and in the broth there at the bottom, and making one of her pigtails another udon noodle as well, with other pieces of her design also highlighting different vegetables or meats that you'd see in a traditional udon dish. So wonderful work to both of these. There are a lot of designs on the OriMeta S tag, so if you have not seen that tag already yet on Twitter, definitely make sure you give it a stop by there and see what you think. But with all that being said, I do believe that covers everything for this week's episode, so like I said, it's kind of a slow week, but also kind of not. Mostly just kind of wrapping up the events and the festivities as a whole with the release of D-Saurer and some last-minute events as well to partake in and enjoy more rewards from that. But with that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there that we also manage. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below if you'd like to keep it even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any links, any new merchandise, fan art, my weekly episodes, or any translation updates or projects that we want to try. The Discord is going to be the first place you hear it before it goes anywhere else on the net. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at @ItsuGamiKura, so if you have any questions or feedback or comments or would love just to stop in and say hello, I leave my DMs open for that very reason on purpose, and I don't see myself closing them anytime soon for this very reason. So if you'd love to stop in and have a chat with me, definitely reach out to me and I'll get to you when I can. In addition to this, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber and would love to collaborate with me sometime, that would mean having you here with me on my channel as a guest host, or me stopping in on yours for a friendly chat or a group game, I would love to coordinate with you. So definitely reach out to me and we can make something happen for sure and coordinate some schedules. Lastly, do give these wonderful friends of mine a follow in the Medarot community as well. My dear friend Moen at MoenCHSci, as you see here, who runs the unofficial Metabots fan page on Twitter, who also does a lot of wonderful art as well, if not sharing art that he finds through the community on the Eastern community front. In addition, he also has been doing a wonderful job helping me get word around for my random Medarot kit generator that I offered to help people with the Ori Meta contest. So if you have any trouble with coming up with a design or a theme, this generator will basically spit out a kit idea for you, and you basically use it to fill in the blanks and design it based on what it gives you, just to kind of help give you that jump start if you're having the creative writer's block. Do also give Madama Usagi a follow as well on Twitter, who does a lot of wonderful and high-quality Medarot art as well. Of most any model that you can think of the popular ones, he most certainly has done them and then more. And both these people are folks that you most certainly will not be sorry to see in your weekly feeds on Twitter. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.